I'm Michelle Yanachan, and this is Fast Track's Insider Guide with my top travel tips from around the world. The summer festival season is in full swing in Europe. Hungary's capital, Budapest, hosts the week-long Sigay festival on an island on the River Danube. Also on the banks of the Danube, there'll be 4 days of music at the Exit Festival in Novi Sad. The university town is a hub of Serbian art and culture and buzzing with young students. The festival takes place at the 17th century Petrovaradin fortress. Denmark's solitary Faroe Islands host the offbeat G Music Festival from July 14th. Starring mostly local musicians, you may not know all the names. This is as much about nature as music in the pretty village of Garuda on the North Atlantic. In Sri Lanka at the end of the month is the Buddhist festival Esala Perahera, an extravagant, colourful pageant in the town of Kandy. For hundreds of years, pilgrims have come here to perform devotionals to the sacred tooth relic, which is paraded inside a golden casket through the city streets. From now until November, the southern right whales escape the Antarctic winter and migrate north up the east coast of the Americas. And some of the best spots to see them in action include Peninsula Valdez in Argentina. The whales tend to congregate in the Golfo Nuevo and Golfo San Jose, where they mate and give birth. Coming up soon is my story from Cambodia, where I was looking into the revival of traditional arts in a country where so much talent, skill and expertise was killed off during the genocide of the Khmer Rouge years. Phnom Penh has become a hotbed for young artists, and much of their work is accessible to tourists too.
Phnom Penh is very vibrant in terms of the visual arts. You can experience contemporary dance, Cambodian contemporary dance just emerging. You can see traditional dance. So I think we need to work in terms of the communication for the tourists to really see that Cambodia can become a destination and a cultural destination.
Carnival is in Cuba, late July through early August. The capital, Havana, hosts parades and dance shows with the best bands playing along the seafront Malecon. But an even better party can be had around the same time in Santiago de Cuba, at the other end of the island, over 700 kilometers away. The parties run all night, drum beats, Chinese trumpets, conga lines with patriotic overtones on July 26th. An important date in Cuba's revolutionary calendar, when streets are covered with banners and official graffiti. In Taiwan, a very special painting is on show. For over 300 years, dwelling in the Fuchun Mountains by Hun Gong Wang has been torn in two until now. The 14th century masterpiece will finally come together at the National Palace Museum in Taipei. That's the home of one section. The other is on loan from China's Zhejiang Provincial Museum until September 25th. The joint exhibition marks another landmark collaboration across the Taiwan Straits. And finally, cruise the Baltic to see the two cities named European Capitals of Culture this year, Tallinn and Turku. In mid-July, there'll be a kayak trip spanning 300 kilometers of the Baltic Sea, from the Estonian capital Tallinn to the Finnish city Turku, lasting roughly 10 days. Then in August is the Tall Ships Regatta. The route starts from Klaipėda, Lithuania, berthing in Turku August 26th for a couple days, when ships will be open to the public. The voyage ends in Gdynia, Poland, early September. Thanks for checking in with my Insider Guide this month. Until next time, happy travelling.
Thanks, Michelle. We'll see you again next month. Now, although it's fantastic staying in a hotel like this for a couple of days, I'm not sure I could do it full time. For a start, I'd miss having all my stuff around me, and the minibar bills could get horrendous. But recently, we've met a man who does just that. Paul Carr gave up his house, his job, and most of his possessions, and now lives in hotels. And he earns his living by reviewing them as he goes along.
So I'm Paul Carr, and I live permanently in hotels.
Somebody just asked me on Twitter for another video review of my hotel. What strikes me though is it has the best minibar in Vegas.
I'd started a series of very, as it turned out, unsuccessful businesses, to the point where I'd ended up writing a book about my failed life. And I reached a point in my failed life where I thought I need to change, and part of that was I need to get out of London. And I realised at that point the exchange rate for the dollars to pounds were $2 to the pound. And I realised that for $100 I could actually, thanks to online hotel websites and things, I could stay in a pretty nice hotel in Manhattan or almost anywhere in the US or the world for about what I was paying to exist in London.
Now they did warn me at check-in, they said, oh, it's a bit noisy, and the noise goes on to 3 AM. Now, a bit noisy is okay. This is what I'm overlooking.
There's actually almost no disadvantages. Like, I've actually got to the point where, like, if you'd have asked me a couple of years ago, I'd have said, well, the disadvantage is you drink too much. But having sort of knocked that on the head, there's actually no disadvantages. You have to live on your own, essentially. You can't necessarily settle down, or it would be very hard to, unless, you know, I find myself sort of dating flight attendants or people who travel a lot, you know, so which is, I have to say, if having to date flight attendants is your downside, then you've got a pretty charmed life. It took me a while to realise that actually, first of all, I needed to stop drinking, was actually what took me a while to realise, but also realise that my friends were what was important. The living, when you have a completely transient lifestyle, when you have a lifestyle that you have almost no possessions, almost no responsibilities or ties, keeping your good friends close is very important, because they're the only constant you have.
I wish I were a girl when I come into this room, because I reacted like a girl, so I can only imagine how an actual girl would behave, because so there are two sinks, there's this very cool bath, there's an amazing walk-in shower, which is actually bigger than my first room at the New York, which is very cool.
And one of the things I did in Las Vegas, for example, I was staying 33 nights in 33 hotels on the Strip, is I started writing haiku reviews. It was like because people were like, oh, just write a short review. If you can't write anything, right, just write a short review. So I was like, okay. And it's, you know, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5-syllable poems, sort of. I mean, they were kind of throwaway. And the trouble is, everyone loved them. 70s comfort style, a great place to bring your kids, except it's in Vegas. Warned me about the noise, but not the dead hobo smell surrounding the bed. I was downgraded. Bitched at bad room on Twitter. I was upgraded. I have a lot of reasons to love London, but London does hotels badly. Unless you want to pay £400 a night, which isn't sustainable if you're living in hotels, then you can't get a good room. So San Francisco is a city that does hotels incredibly well. You can get really good rooms for $70, $75 a night, which is like £50 a night. I mean, almost nothing. The service is great. I mean, it's California, so everybody loves you on the street, let alone in a hotel. Around. Oh, there's a picture on his backside on the wall. That's nice. 2 sinks, which I've discovered is now de rigueur in upscale hotels. 1 sink isn't enough. Best advice I can give about getting upgrades is be brazen. Don't be afraid to blag. Now, people say, oh, you know, tip the receptionist, slide £20 or $20 under the. That's horrible. Don't do that. Like, I'm sure in some hotels if you did that you might get an upgrade, but that's horrible. That's like hotel room prostitution. It's weird. Like, to me, be honest. Ask for an upgrade. You know, again, everyone behind a hotel room desk is allowed to do that. If you stay in like any of the big chains, they have loyalty programs. They know They know how much you've stayed before. They won't upgrade you. Stay in an independent place, and especially if you come back, you're their friend. You're a regular guest, and they'll give you the best room they can.
Paul Carr, the man who gave up his house to live in hotels. That's one way of avoiding paying electricity bills, I suppose. That's all we've got time for this week. Do try and join us again next week if you can, when Rajan will be in Barcelona to find out why some in the city have fallen out of love with tourism. And don't forget, you can keep up with the programme by logging on to our website, which you'll find at bbc.com/fast track. Or head to bbc.com/travel, where you'll find an extended interview with hotel hopper Paul Carr, plus a host of features on Montreal and Singapore. But until the next time, from me, Fiona Foster, and the rest of the Fast Track team, bye-bye.